What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with Franklin. So I'm going to make you watch a 58-second video clip, okay? These really encapsulate what's going on in Nigeria at the moment. And once you've watched the video clip, it's only 58 seconds. I'm going to share my observations. I'm currently in Nigeria. I'm going to share my observations and a couple of bullet points, and then we'll wrap up the show, okay?
Nigeria is going to start limiting cash withdrawals from bank machines to $225 or around 100,000 Nigerian naira per week, with a daily limit of $45. The official reason is to discourage ransom payments for kidnappings and to fight counterfeiting. But what is it really about? Well, Nigeria launched their central bank digital currency late last year. This, as is always the case, is about control. This is about pushing a cashless society where governments have complete control over you and every single transaction is tracked. CBDCs are here, and slowly but surely governments will start to restrict your access to cash until it is gone, and with it your financial freedom. Opt out, buy Bitcoin.
Do you know what I discovered? And this is just personal observation before I even go into what's going on, because I spend more time in Africa now, on ground every day. This is not like coming to Africa for like a week or two and disappear. Sometimes I come for like 2 months plus. The last year at some point I spent like 3 months. It made me realize millions of our people on ground have zero knowledge about how the world truly works. In terms of the societal pyramid, how the actions of Europeans, the people in the West, the people in the shadows, the decisions that are filtered down and then come to the ground level within the Nigerian society. Trust me, I've met so many people, even you'd say within the financial sector. There are people, very few, who would have conversations with you, they can connect, they understand what's going on, the agenda, the new world order and things. But do you know what's funny? This is the reason I'm saying this is it's given me a major and shocking insight into the mindset of the average African person. Because I've said it in so many of my videos, if you don't have a clue, for starters, about how the world truly works, look man, you're doomed. You are marked for failure, right? You'll be sucked in by the agenda that runs the wider context of the society, and that will force you into a particular predetermined pathway and dictate how you work, how you move, how you navigate for the most part of your life, rather than you being in control both physically and spiritually. Right now there is I'm in your state, right, in Nigeria, and there is unrest. People are unhappy because suddenly there is a sudden stoppage to flow of cash. Remember, not too long ago, the government cited corruption and then unscrupulous distribution of cash, blah 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 blah. They presented it as though they're trying to curb corruption because of the forthcoming election. There are people hiding monies and all that. All of that was just a misdirection. That was just misleading. It's my reasonable submission. Now, the ultimate agenda, you say all this redesigning the Naira notes, the 1,000 and the 500 and the 200 and the Naira notes and all that, and when you look at some of the comments of our people online, the social media platforms of Nigerian bloggers, African bloggers, you realize that particularly the youth, a lot of them are blind. And I don't mean that in a disparaging manner, but it's the truth. People are much more interested in the sort of laughs, the cheap laughs and likes they can obtain right there on the spot, just make jokes about everything. And if you try to unpack things for them and help them to connect the dots, they instantaneously label people like me as a conspiracy theorist. You watched that video, right? You saw that the white dude, you heard what he said. He's absolutely right, totally correct in his assertions and his submissions, right? You see, the main agenda is it's a global plan, is to turn Nigerian society, the rest of Africa, to a cashless society. But you see, like I said, what's really shocking and scary is the fact that a lot of our people don't even get it. People are protesting about, the prices of petrol have gone up, which all of these things are man-made, they're artificial. It's the same thing in the UK. In the US, if you go to the pumps, you see what the petrol and all these things is designed to strangle people financially, to drain your resources, to inflict you with chaos, to inflict you with inconvenience. Notice I said chaos, right? The chaos is always presented to you, and then they would come in. What runs concurrently with that is they would come in as though they're trying to fix the chaos. But meanwhile, behind the scene is a rollout of the true agenda. Do you understand? If they had come out and say, oh, there's going to be a cashless society, there'll be a new world order, blah, 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 people will be up in arms, there'll be like a nationwide protest and all that stuff. Suddenly, right, they are claiming that, the cash that they are rolling out to the banks, there's no cash around. The mainstream media, it's the same thing across the world. They're rolling out these lies. People are frustrated. They're turning to the wrong direction, and they are fighting blindly. They're trying to show their frustrations, but they're fighting blindly, because for starters, like I say, if you don't understand how the world works, you're an absolute failure. You've lost the battle. There is no way you're going to be able to come out of the matrix. There's no way you're going to be able to be in full control of your life. Facts. Both young and old. Very few people in Africa, man. It's shocking, it's staggering. They don't have an idea. A lot of people are religiously blind. You see, in the West, what's the difference? There is a culture of concealment. Everything looks rosy. It's not exactly rosy, right? They are pros on how they do things. They present to you like everything is going on well. Yes, there is hardship. Look at what's happening across the UK. All arms of the society has almost collapsed. There's strike here. Nurses, teachers, firemen, everyone is shouting for more money. Cost of living is rising and all that. But even at that, you'd almost believe there is orderliness in the society. There isn't. It's a society that, has a very strong police hand. A lot of people are afraid of the implications of being arrested by the police and being documented, and by so doing they lose their daily bread. And it's a culture, it's dictatorial, that keeps people, they keep your head down and keep it going, do as you're told type of environment. Fact. Over here, people don't have a clue. Now, people are saying it's because of the forthcoming election. I thought at first that perhaps, the whole inflicting people with inconvenience, the cash being scarce, is because so that people will be worn out, they'll be frustrated, they'll be tired and stuff, so that the forthcoming election, which is in a few weeks, they won't be able to come out, and they will have reasons to be able to perhaps rig the election in their favor and whatnot. But no, that's not the point. There are multi-millions in Nigeria, millions of people that don't even have bank accounts. I was talking to somebody who works in the banking sector, and he confirmed this. He said, yeah, this was just a couple of days ago. We're just talking over lunch, and he said, yeah, because of the lawlessness in Africa, because a lot of things are not properly regulated in Africa, so it makes it really obvious, the suffering. So yesterday there was protests across, people throwing stones and smashing cars and looting and stuff. It has nothing to do. They just piggyback on the situation, the frustration and all that. That's fixed nothing. When I went into the banking hall on the high street, one of the high street banks, they were giving out 1,000 naira per person. That's like a pound to naira is actually 920, 925 naira. So that's like saying, the bank is saying in cash format, you can only have £1 per person per day. You can imagine £1, 1,000 naira, right? Is what there was a long queue. Some banks gave 2,000 naira. That's like equivalent of £2 and a bit more. You understand me? People don't understand. You've heard in this video, the chaos that's going on, right, is a smoke screen. We're gearing towards a cashless society where the government will have an ultimate control over your finance, where if they don't like the sound of your voice, you don't like your submissions on social media platforms like this, on what you've said, or if they thought you've been disrespectful to the government, or whatever arms of the government, they can just, within a couple of clicks, click, they can shut down your bank account, freeze your finances, and there you go, inflict you with ruin, fraud, with sufferings and agitations. You may never get back your money. They can pile on allegations. It's total control, where they can have absolute control of your financial digital footprints. What are you spending? Where is that penny come from? It's, by the way, before you start commenting, some of the self-appointed African gatekeepers who live in the West, the same thing is coming to the UK, the US, and everywhere else. And if you think that, oh, you see it as technological advancement, then you are absolutely blind. You are absolutely blind. I couldn't get any cash, and then the people with the POS machine, they're charging an extortionate amount in commissions. Like if you wanted to take out 10,000 naira, they ask you for 3,000 naira in some cases. I was driving earlier, I wanted to take out about 10,000 naira. A lady was saying to me 3,500 in commission. The average person can't afford that. Now, there are so plenty of things you need cash for, like you want to buy plantain, fruits, your pepper seller. There are so many things that you need, bits and bob of cash for on a daily basis. There are things that you don't mind, you do bank transfer, but there are so many things. And those petty traders, there are multi-millions of them. They are trapped. They have limited education and understanding of the wider context of the society. They are agonizing, that's the word. They are suffering. They don't have cash flow, that's been stopped. They can't, replace their goods and services. They can't go to the farms to get their tomatoes, their peppers. They are suffering. There was a woman that I saw, was a couple of days ago, was driving and parked to use the services of a vulcanizer, and just to put pressure in my tires, and I saw this woman smashing herself on the ground by the roadside somewhere, and I paid attention, and it's the fact that she has about 11,000 naira in her bank account, but she's unable to get it out. She can't feed her children. Her husband is late, and there's nobody, even neighbors that would have helped her, they don't have cash as well. Her children are starving. She only has 2 cups of rice left in the house. She can't buy things from the market. And there are plenty of stories like this. You see, the people at the pinnacle of affairs, they don't really care. And it's not unique to Africa, but it's very harsh because a lot of things are not regulated. It's very obvious. I'm observing, but because I'm a man who thoroughly understand how the world works, I can see the agenda, what's coming. But if you live in the West, no disrespect, and you think you are insulated, you think you are protected, you've made a big mistake. My name is Franklin. Let's keep the conversation going on below. What do you think? I'd like to hear from you. On a final note, I run Ifa divination service. I deliberately kept this to talk to at the end of the video about this, whereby I'm a proud practitioner of Ifa, African spirituality. If you're interested in looking into any questions you have about your life, it could be your predestination check, Akosejaye. What were you called to do? What were you called to be in this dispensation? If you're interested in knowing about that, send me an email to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. My email address is in the description part of this video if you're watching on YouTube. You can DM me on Instagram. It's very powerful. It helps you recalibrate your life. Are you going through spiritual challenges and stuff like that? Ifa is amazing. Ifa is absolutely powerful. African spirituality is what my ancestors, my forefathers practiced before the religion of the invaders invaded Africa. It predates the religion of the invaders. That's why people like us can recalibrate and retrace our steps to traditional practice, otherwise known as Isheshe in Yoruba. If it's your cup of tea, get in touch with me.